The old rusty fence was covered in rust and dirt. It was utterly neglected. The building had 2 floors. All the windows were devoid of glass. The panes that had once adorned them were shattered, with remnants of broken pieces still clinging. The chaotic decor was accompanied by the sounds of nocturnal creatures, sounds that only heightened the tension. The house, with its distinctive Asian architecture, carried a negative aura that seemed to emanate just from a glance. No one could tell what terrifying presence lurked inside. One thing was certain: there was no beauty or charm within those walls. 2 young women approached the building cautiously. They were both beautiful, with relatively petite, tall figures. At first glance, their heights seemed similar, and they were named Lucelyn and Kyrie. Their body shapes appeared almost identical, as if they were siblings, but upon closer inspection, Lucelyn had a fuller figure and rounder cheeks, while Kyrie was more proportionate, featuring a pointed nose as a distinctive trait. Kyrie and Lucelyn walked with hesitant and trembling steps, huddling close to each other, their hands tightly holding each other's. It was evident that neither of them possessed much courage. It was unclear what they were thinking, venturing into such a frightening place on their own. "Are you sure about this?" Kyrie asked, her expression filled with worry and fear. She felt that coming to this house was not the right decision, and her expression clearly conveyed that. They had just walked past the wide-open gate, as if the homeowner was welcoming guests with open arms. Their shoes crunched the dry leaves scattered around, creating a distinct sound. The slightly moving gate produced a creaking noise from its hinges. "I'm not sure, but we have to go in. It's already too late to turn back now, right? We're already here," Lucelyn replied, her uncertainty evident in her fearful tone. However, the girl by her side seemed to feign bravery and bolster her determination. "I'm getting even more scared with what you're saying. Why don't we find a less horrifying place for our exploration? Somewhere less terrifying," Kyrie suggested. "Searching for ghosts, we have to go to a haunted house. But this is too spooky. That's the point. If you want to capture a sighting, you have to go to a spooky place. The chances of encountering something are higher," Lucelyn replied with a sweet smile, countering Kyrie's earlier statement. "I don't know, I suddenly feel like changing my mind. We're already here. Just be prepared for whatever happens." Lucelyn scanned the surroundings with her flashlight, doing so playfully. "You're pretending to be brave. It's cold, and it's midnight. What if real ghosts appear?" Kyrie asked, her expression bewildered and confused. "Sister, we'll be fine. Besides, that's what we hope for, to capture a ghostly presence." "Yes, but I'm scared." Lucelyn didn't respond to the older woman's words. Instead, she reached into her small bag, took out a flashlight, and handed it to Kyrie. Afterward, she retrieved 2 handheld cameras, handycams. She gave one to Kyrie. Lucelyn then activated her handycam, while Kyrie examined the flashlight and handycam alternately. She then shifted her gaze to Lucelyn. "Why do we need flashlights? Doesn't this have a built-in light? Don't you know?" Kyrie asked. After speaking, she immediately turned on the handycam, testing whether it was working properly or not. Hearing the question, Lucelyn just smiled innocently, her sweet smile making her look even more adorable. She scratched the back of her head. "Well, let's just consider it a precaution in case the built-in light goes out," she replied, somewhat puzzled, clearly trying to avoid acknowledging her lack of knowledge. It seemed that the sweet girl either forgot or genuinely didn't know that the handycam had a bright spotlight and better illumination than the flashlights they held. The red handycam was specially designed for nighttime filming, equipped with a light and an infrared system. Kyrie decided not to dwell on it further. Put away the flashlights. Kyrie handed the flashlight she was holding back to Lucelyn, who promptly returned both flashlights to her small bag. Kyrie then turned her head toward the eerie building that exuded a foreboding atmosphere. "Whether we like it or not, we have to go in," she murmured softly, taking a deep breath to brace herself, effectively summoning her courage. "Let's go." Kyrie held the handycam in her right hand and reached for Lucelyn's hand with her left. She firmly grasped Lucelyn's hand. Kyrie was prepared to face the fear and dread of the building with her younger sister, who sometimes displayed such innocence that it bordered on naivety. Lucelyn nodded, turning on the handycam's light. Side by side, they made their way toward the front terrace of the haunted house. The distance from where they stood to the terrace was about 20 steps or more. The yard was quite large for such a large and frightening old house. As they focused on the terrace and the double doors in front, there, on the second floor where a window with swaying curtains was located, the silhouette of a woman gazing in their direction was clearly visible. Their small steps were slow and deliberate. Unbeknownst to them, they were being watched. They walked on the front porch carefully, as if afraid that any movement or sound they made would awaken a crazed guard dog inside. In reality, even if they made a noise as loud as an atomic bomb, nothing would be disturbed or awakened. The house had no life within it. Lucelyn, who had initially acted so bravely, suddenly felt fear and trembled when they reached the door. Both of them aimed their handycams at the door, forgetting to speak. The pair of large doors featured the head of a menacing horned creature, similar to a gargoyle, with the head made of bronze, intricately sculpted. Kyrie and Lucelyn did not seem to appreciate the overly eerie design of the horned head. It was strange and inexplicable that, even in this day and age, such frightful decor still contained aesthetic elements, though it remained horrifying. The homeowner must have terrible taste in art, Lucelyn commented with a frown as she looked at the pair of horned heads. It was clear that she disliked their appearance. "What were you expecting? Were you hoping for Hello Kitty or a unicorn?" Kyrie asked, looking at Lucelyn as she posed the question. Lucelyn's reaction confirmed that what Kyrie had said was true. Seeing her reaction, Kyrie simply shook her head and redirected her gaze toward the door. It's an old house, a relic from the past. It would be ridiculous if there were Hello Kitty decorations here. Anyway, let's go in." Kyrie stopped the small talk and pushed the old door. With a light push, the door swung open effortlessly, the sound of the door's hinges disrupting the silence around them. The door opened slowly, the creaking sound truly unsettling to the ears. "Oh, that was too easy. I thought the door would be heavy to push," Kyrie remarked as she observed the door, which had swung wide open with little effort.